Hi, my name is William. Wait, let me start over. Wait, sorry. What do I say again? I got a layup for the first one. What's the best video game of all time? See, there's a lot of speculation on this. I would say for a long time there were games that took that crown, took the throne, but a few years ago, one took it, and society's never looked back. It's Fortnite. Do you find it easier to write songs alone or together? Together. I would say I find it easier to initially write the song alone. I have a couple friends who I think like feel open enough with that I can share like that very protected side of myself that maybe I came up with the idea on my own. But besides them, I would say still by myself. Tell the story of how you started making music. So 3 years ago, I moved to New York and it was peak COVID 2021. And immediately got COVID a few days after moving. And I had just moved into my apartment. All I had was a mattress on the floor and two new roommates. And I was so excited to live here. But immediately I knew I had to spend those first 10 days that I wanted to be making friends and exploring the city alone. So I quarantined my apartment for 10 days. And um, as most of my friends had gotten COVID, I just assumed I would be sick for a bit and then be fine. But after I waited the 10 days for the quarantine, I ended up still feeling pretty bad. And after 10 days, kept going and I kept getting sicker and ended up going to the ER at NYU. And at that point, I couldn't talk. So I had to text on my phone questions to the doctor and learn that my COVID had also turned into pneumonia and that my lungs were full of fluid, which is why I couldn't talk. And for the next week after that, I checked my oxygen levels and basically just laid on my side all day as I hoped that all these like medicines and steroids that they were hitting me with would work. And what at the time I was kind of told was a very close encounter with death turned into just like a really long, slow recovery. And I ended up making it. And once I was able to kind of whisper talk again, I spoke to my doctor again on the phone and they told me that basically my vocal cords were super weak. So I hadn't spoken in a month. And the reason I was always so out of breath is because there's still a lot of fluid in my lungs, even though I wasn't as sick anymore. So his recommendation was to make a playlist on Spotify of my favorite songs that I knew the words to and hum along to those songs before I could talk. And then once I could talk, to start to whisper, kind of sing along, and then eventually sing them full chest. And at the time, I was no singer. I had never sang in my life, but it felt like maybe a little bit of permission, these doctor orders. So when my roommates would leave for work, I played the playlist every day for weeks on end, and I would sing along. At first, looking at the lyrics online, but after a few days, I got it all. And this like dress rehearsal for myself, based on what the doctor said, just sort of never ended until one day after literally months of singing along to the same songs for half an hour a day. My roommate got off work early, came home, caught me in the act, belting alone in my room. And he plays guitar, had a guitar, so he brought it out and started playing some chords and sort of bullied me into admitting that this had been my secret hobby for the last few months. And once he gave me permission to use his guitar, I started Googling chords and singing every day, turned into writing every day, and I just never stopped. What's the biggest transition from Tennessee to New York? I would say bodegas are definitely the biggest change in my life. The quick access to a Gatorade or a Nutter Butter at select bodegas, I would say, has really changed the trajectory of my snack intake. I didn't snack much in Tennessee. Um, and therefore, I think just made me a better person overall. Who's the best film director of all time? Christopher Nolan. Bam. I said it. Oh, everyone says him. I don't care. I said it. What is my songwriting process? I am very grateful to not really know the answer to this either. Every time I listen to a song that I've written, once we record it, I'm always sort of like in awe that it at some point touched my brain and is now a song. Um, so I'm trying to figure that out too. Usually I am practicing guitar because I try to practice every day, or I'm practicing singing, and all of a sudden I start playing a song that I hadn't heard before, and I try to write it down before I forget it, and then show it to my friends that I make music with, and then we have a new song. What advice would you give to artists who are afraid of releasing their music? I actually feel like excited to answer this question because I always felt this way. From my experience, I would say if you're afraid to release your music, but you want to be an artist and you want to put music out, then to me, the question you need to ask yourself is, do you not like the music, or are you just afraid to be an artist? But if you know deep down you want to be an artist, that's something you want to pursue, and that's a way you want to connect to the world, and you love your music, you'll put it out. So for me, I think I was looking for validation from all my friends. I was looking for the look on their face when I would play my demos for them, that they would be so blown away that I would be convinced that I had good music. And I think at the end of the day, when I first started writing music after COVID, I had so much fun doing it, and I felt so seen by myself. I felt like I was allowed to talk to myself in a way that I hadn't before, that I wanted to make that part of my life, that experience, bigger. And in doing that, I thought that meant releasing music. But that experience of songwriting and creating that art is separate, I would say, from releasing music. Releasing music is a whole different experience. So if you're afraid to release the music, I would say ask yourself, do you want to be someone who puts out music? If the answer is yes, and you want to connect to the world in that way, and you have music and you're still feeling afraid to release it, or maybe reluctant to, then at least from my experience, I got better at making music. I bullied myself into writing more songs, practicing guitar more. And I think, or I would like to think, hopefully for you, one day you will hear a song on your hard drive or on Google Drive that will blow you away, that it's so good that you have to put it out. And maybe that feeling will change, but in the moment, at least, I can say I'm very lucky to have people around me more talented than me that have made songs that I can't believe my name are on, and it's been a no brainer to put those out.